So what is up, guys? Brendan Suter back, and today I am here with my Blue Jays June recap. Now, to be honest, this month was more what I expected out of the Toronto Blue Jays, with an elite offense and a pitching core that had a lot of question marks to it. Anyways, got a lot to get into. Got the pros, cons of the months, surprises, disappointments, top moments, and of course some awards I'm going to be giving out at the end. So without further ado, let's get this video started. All right, so starting out with the pros for the Blue Jays month of June. The biggest pro, obviously, was the offense. Now, the narrative that we had in April and May was that we were just getting carried by our pitching core, and our offense was extremely subpar. Now, obviously, that kind of changed. Like, the shifting point came in the final week of May, and in June, it's just been extremely consistent from there. We finished third in home runs for the month of June with 50, had 170 runs, which was first among the MLB, and then we had a 140 weighted runs created plus, which was first in the MLB. Now, a few key contributors I want to talk about on offense is, firstly, Alejandro Kirk. Now, if you thought his month of May was good, the month of June was somehow better. He hit 341, had a 451 on-base percentage, 635 slugging, had a weighted runs created plus of 206. That was second among hitters in June, only behind Yordan Alvarez, and he actually had the third highest WAR at 1.7. He was tied with Jake Cronenworth and behind Yordan Alvarez. Now, being behind Yordan Alvarez, I take absolutely no shame in that because he's been ridiculous this year, especially in the month of June. But props out to Alejandro Kirk. Now, can he keep this up? Honestly, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping he can. Next thing I want to talk about is Teoscar Hernandez. Now, yes, he had a rough month of May, but once again, he was recovering from injury, and he definitely had some growing pains. But his month of June, he completely has recovered and has been amazing. He hit 327, had a 357 on-base percentage, 607 slugging, had a WRC plus of 169, so very nice out to Teoscar Hernandez. Sure, he had a 27.7 strikeout percentage, but other than that, he's back. Like, this is one of the big bats that we've been missing. Then on to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Once again, he did have a down month of May, but he's starting to hit like the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that we saw in 2021, as he hit 283 with a 372 on-base percentage, a 566 slugging percentage, and had a WRC plus of 163. And so we had three Blue Jays who finished in the top 25 for weighted runs created plus for the month of June. Now, one thing that's changed for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the way he's hitting the ball. As in the month of May, he had the fifth highest ground ball to fly ball ratio among qualified hitters. And in the month of June, he significantly decreased that and is actually fifth in a home run to fly ball ratio in the month of June, with 32.1% of his fly balls going for home runs. And the final guy I want to talk about on offense is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Now, obviously, his months of April and May are usually pretty horrific, but he usually turns it up to end the season. And the month of June, he was absolutely electric. He had a 355 batting average, which was fifth among hitters in the month of June. 394 on base percentage, 505 slugging with a WRC plus of 156. Now, the rest of the offense has just been absolutely amazing in the month of June. Guys like Bo Bichette, George Springer, Matt Chapman, Santiago Espinal. In fact, out of all of our qualified hitters, none of them had a WRC plus below 100. Now, remember, 100 is league average, so all of our qualified hitters are above average, which is absolutely amazing. Now, what caused the Blue Jays to have this big offensive surge in the month of June? Well, number one was the discipline, as we had the sixth lowest strikeout percentage. Now, despite us having the 12th highest walk percentage in the month of June, we still had the highest on-base percentage, and obviously with less strikeouts, we were able to have the fourth highest batting average on balls in play, or BABIP for short, and the third highest isolated power. Now, isolated power takes slugging percentage and subtracts it from batting average to really see who's really good at acquiring extra bases, and obviously the Jays, with the improved discipline, allowed us to be much better on offense. Now, with the advanced discipline, it really helped out our situational average, as with no one on, we hit 255 with a 319 on-base percentage and a 431 slugging. Now, with runners on, we were surprisingly a little bit better, as we hit 262 with a 341 on-base percentage and a 409 slugging. But the biggest improvement came from our hitting with runners in scoring position, as we hit 242 with a 324 on-base percentage and a 396 slugging percentage. Now, obviously, there are a couple more improvements that need to be made with runners in scoring position, but considering where we were in April and May, this is huge progress, so I'm happy with it. And the final good part I'm going to bring up is Alek Manoah, as obviously he's been our best pitcher this year. The key thing for him is consistency, and he's just been that this entire season. In the month of June, he was pretty solid, had a 2.56 ERA with a 3.01 FIP, And honestly, like I said, just the consistency, he's able to give us innings, and that's just all that we need, as it's less taxing on the bullpen. Now I'm going to be getting into some of the cons of the team, and obviously the biggest con that I want to talk about is the pitching, and more specifically, the bullpen. Now, if you told me we'd have bullpen struggles, I'm thinking it's 2021 all over again. And the month of June was very reminiscent of that, as we actually had a 4.90 ERA in the month of June, which was the 5th highest among bullpens, had a FIP of 4.29, which was actually 11th. Now, one thing we can blame is the durability of the starting pitching, as in the month of June, the bullpen threw 108 and a third of an inning, which was 4th most innings thrown among bullpens. Now, obviously in today's MLB, the role of the starting pitcher is slowly deteriorating as load management and concern about pitches thrown. Pitchers aren't really throwing 7 innings like they used to, as right now, it's a miracle if he can even get past 6. And also, injuries really plagued the bullpen, as so many of our best relievers were going on IL. So we're having to call up guys from the farm, and obviously they would struggle. Then, of course, as soon as we get them back, immediately they get sent back down. Now, a few bullpen arms that have been huge disappointments. Number one, Trevor Richards. Like, anytime he came in a pinch in the month of June, I knew that we were just completely screwed, as he had an 11.25 ERA and a FIP of 6.36, which is absolutely atrocious. We had Adam Simber, who was surprisingly off for this month, as he had a 6.97 ERA, but he had a FIP of 3.40, which is a bit of a shock to me. And we had also had a few rough performances from guys like Tim Meza, who I praised for his month of April, but he's kind of fallen back to earth and is kind of in that average to below average pitcher right now, as he had a 5.14 ERA and 6.11 FIP in the month of June. And then David Phelps, I credited him with being our best reliever last month, but he had a 4.50 ERA, but a 2.94 FIP. Now, as negative as I've been with the bullpen, there were still a few guys who were very impressive. We had Jimmy Garcia, who had a 4.26 ERA, but a FIP of 2.32. Now, obviously his ERA was heavily inflated due to a rough inning against the Baltimore Orioles, but other than that, he's been amazing. Jordan Romano, he had a 2.35 ERA, but a 3.89 FIP. Now, he had one blown save against the Chicago White Sox, but one thing I've noticed is that his workload has significantly decreased. Now, with the Jays having a lot more blowout wins, and we're not in so many one-run affairs anymore, Jordan Romano's workload has been cut down a significant amount. Even some of the guys that we brought from the farm have had some great performances. Guys like Matt Gage, who's been our new reliable left-handed pitcher, and even Max Castillo. Now, sure, he had a rough debut, but ever since then, he's been pretty solid and has been a reliable arm out of the bullpen. Now I want to get into the starting pitching. Firstly, I want to talk about Jose Barrios, and it has been an extremely rough month of June for him. Well, the start of June, his first 3 starts were amazing. His last 2 starts have been an absolute disaster, and it has completely ruined him, as he had a 6.28 ERA and a FIP of 5.73. Now, his strikeouts per 9 are okay. He's got a good walks per 9, but the home runs per 9 are insane. He has a 2.51 home runs per 9. His home run to fly ball ratio is at 27.6% in the month of June, which was the highest among qualified pitchers. Even in the good starts that he's had, the number one flaw that you could always point out in those starts were the home runs that he gave up, and it has just been a complete disaster for him. The next pitcher I'm going to rip into is Yusei Kikuchi, as it has been a horrific month of June for him. Kind of a reversion to his April self, but somehow even worse, as he's had an ERA of 7.17 and a FIP of 8.50. Now Yusei Kikuchi has an amazing 12.66 strikeouts per 9, but he has a 5.06 walks per 9 and a 4.22 home runs per 9. And his home run to fly ball ratio is even worse than Jose Barrios, as he has a 45.5% home run to fly ball ratio. Now, I can't even say he was among qualified pitchers because he didn't throw enough innings. He's been so bad. Like, we're just taking him out so early, and it just taxes the hell out of the bullpen. However, the one thing I'm super pissed off that we brought back were the red jerseys. Now, the Blue Jays in 2017, we would wear our red jerseys for Sunday home games, and they were just an absolute curse, and we discontinued them mid-season. And when I heard over social media that we would be wearing red jerseys for 2 games this year, I was like, nope, it's over. We've lost. If it's not Canada Day, those red jerseys are an absolute curse. I don't know why we brought them back. Now, I am filming this a couple days after June ended, and we did bring them back for the second game of the doubleheader against the Tampa Bay Rays, and it was just a disaster. So, Blue Jays, if you're watching this, please stop wearing the red jerseys. If it's not Canada Day, don't wear them because they're just a complete curse. Now I want to start talking about some surprises for the Toronto Blue Jays. Number one, Ross Stripling. Now, with Hyunjin Ryu going out with Tommy John surgery, he's going to be out for the next couple of seasons. Ross Stripling has come in and was just electric in the month of June, as he had a 1.75 ERA, which was the 7th lowest among starters in the month of June. He had a 2.76 FIP, which was 11th lowest, and he had the 19th highest WAR with 0.7. Now, I'm not going to rip into that too much because he was among some elite company like Carlos Rodon, Sandy Alcantara, and many more. Now, can he continue this dominant stretch that he had? My answer is no. I don't think he can continue. One thing is he actually had an expected FIP of 3.70, which was the 34th lowest among qualified starters. And I've seen this exact thing in the month of April, where he filled in for Hyunjin Ryu, had a good start to his stint as a starter, but once the other foot dropped, he was horrible. So honestly, I'm just ready for the other foot to drop for Ross Stripling. And a few big surprises that we had on offense. Number one, Cavan Biggio. Now, if you remember my April recap video, you're going to remember that I was ripping into Cavan Biggio, but he has made some significant improvements in the month of June, as he had a 271 batting average with a 419 on base percentage and a 525 slugging percentage, giving him a WRC plus of 168. Now, he wasn't able to qualify among hitters since he didn't have enough plate appearances, but considering that he went from a negative 19 OPS plus when he got injured, and now that he's at a 114 OPS plus, props to Cavan Biggio. You know what? I'm sorry that I was so harsh on you, but apparently when I'm super harsh on players, they tend to break out, so maybe I should do that more. And even Raimel Tapia put together a strong month of June, as he hit 296, had a 306 on-base percentage. Now, obviously, his batting average and on-base percentage there's not going to be much of a difference between that because he just never walks, as he had a 1.4 walk percentage, but he had a 507 slugging percentage and a WRC plus at 124. Now, a lot like Cavan Biggio, he didn't have enough plate appearances to qualify, but he went from a 67 OPS plus to an 85 OPS plus. So once again, just like Cavan Biggio, much respect to making out those improvements. Now I'm going to be getting into disappointments for the month of June. Now, I know I was pretty short on surprises, but to be honest, in the month of June, if you were a Blue Jay, you were either on the pro or the con side. There was very few that are going to be in between, and there's going to be a few that make the disappointing category. Now, the first disappointment I want to talk about is Kevin Gausman, as after a strong April and May, he had a disappointing June, having a 3.96 ERA, but he had a FIP of 2.03. Now, he still maintained a solid strikeouts per 9 and didn't even allow a single home run, just like the month of April. But his biggest issue was his walks per 9 had a bit of an increase. Now, the reason why, batters were way more disciplined against him. As Gausman in the month of June was more of a two-pitch pitcher, really relying on his fastball and splitter and neglecting that slider and changeup. Now, obviously, batters took a lot of notice to that, were able to increase walks, and the BABIP against him was really bad at 413. Now, in the last couple starts that he made against the White Sox and the Boston Red Sox, he's made some changes. Obviously, he's no longer just relying on the fastball and splitter, throwing in those secondary pitches, and obviously his numbers have significantly improved. Now, can he continue that into July? Hopefully. And another disappointment I want to talk about is with the defense. Now, currently we rank 5th in defensive runs saved and 13th in outs above average. But one thing that I noticed is that the month of June, there was a significant decrease, as we ranked 21st in outs above average. Now, the BABIP we allowed was at 306, and throw that in with a 4.29 FIP, and all of a sudden, we just started giving up runs from the left and to the right, and it was just a disaster. Now, the final disappointment I want to talk about is Gabriel Moreno. Now, don't rip into me yet, just hear me out for a second. Now, obviously, with him being our top prospect, and as soon as we called him up, obviously, the expectations for him were insane, and he's been okay, but he hasn't quite been playing like that top prospect we've expected. Now, he's had some good surface numbers, hitting 300 with a 333 on base percentage, but the issue he has is with his slugging percentage, as he only has a 325 slugging. Now take his slugging, subtract it from his batting average, and he has an isolated power of .025, which is absolutely horrific. He only has one extra base hit. Now, he's always good to be able to poke out a hit, which is good, as he's got 4 RBIs from that, but obviously the lack of extra bases is something that's plaguing him, and if he can improve that, then that'd be a huge step in the month of July. But he's still he's still good, so just give him time. But for now, just a slight disappointment. And then for the month of July, the competition that we faced is kind of good and bad. We're finishing our 5-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays to start June. Then we play 3 games against the A's and 4 against the Mariners on the road. Then we have a 2-game series against the Phillies, 4 games against the Kansas City Royals, all at home. Then we got the All-Star break, then follow that up with a 3-game series on the road at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. Then we finish it off with a 6-game homestand, 2 against the Cardinals and 4 against the Detroit Tigers. Now I'm going to get into the top 5 moments from the month of June for the Toronto Blue Jays. Coming in at number 5, I have June 13th against the Baltimore Orioles, winning 11-1. It was hard to really find a number 5, but this was just a huge offensive explosion. Throw that in with a strong Alek Manoah start. Always fun to see. Coming in at number 4, we have Jose Barrios' 13 strikeout performance against the Minnesota Twins, against his former team at the Rogers Center. Sure, he gave up an early 2-run home run to Jorge Polanco, but he was just phenomenal that game. Coming in at number 3, we have the first career walk-off for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. In extra innings, got Bo Bichette on second, leading off against Vlad. I'm shocked the Orioles did not intentionally walk him, but it was kind of pick your poison. Face Vlad, who's been amazing this game, or face Alejandro Kirk, our best hitter. Coming in at number 2, we have Vlad Jr.'s second career walk-off, this time against the Boston Red Sox. This one's slightly higher because we were down by 1 run in the bottom of the 9th, and we rallied, and I was also at that game, so it was so exciting to see. And coming in at number 1, I have the comeback against the New York Yankees on June 19th, which was my birthday. I was there for that, and it was just so exciting. So before I go to the outro, I do have 2 awards that I'm giving out for the month of June. First things first, giving out Player of the Month. Hands down, Alejandro Kirk. Like I said, if you thought his month of May was good, he just took it up to a whole nother level in the month of June. Now, I do have one more award, which is for the worst player of the month. I think you know who I'm going to say it is, but I'm not going to say it. Fortunately, I have my friend Bree, who's presenting worst player of the month. Take it away, Bree.
Hey guys, I'm Brianna with June's Worst Player of the Month, and it's Yusei Kikuchi.
That is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to see my month of May recap, click right over here. If you like this video, drop a like, subscribe to my channel by clicking here or down below. Comment down below what your thoughts were on the Blue Jays month of June. What was the best moment? What were some pros, cons, surprises, disappointments? Shout out to Bree for helping me with Worst Player of the Month. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Brendan Suter. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Blue Jays Nation is out.